you all are comfortable. Yeah, Krishna, hi. Now I am going to start immediately. Now let me just drink some water, and then we are going to start day number 2. Sachin, I suppose that I guess you were present yesterday, if I'm not wrong. Okay. I will make a quick recap. Okay, so let's start. So yesterday I was spending 40 to 60 minutes explaining just Python, like the introduction to it, why Python is used in so many applications and so. And I explained some data types. So for just a quick recap, I have some notes here. I will just take around 5 minutes to explain the yesterday's recap. So let's go. Yeah. So first of all, Python is a very easy language, and it is easy because of its syntax. You can explain your logic structure in a very easy way in Python because it's very close to English language, and the code looks pretty easy. I will show you a bit later. Now I'm just explaining this, and I was explaining the importance of syntax. Why syntax matters. No matter how good your logic is, if you cannot explain your thing in a correct structured manner, then no, your code won't run at all. Jolly Michael, the topic for today is around data structures and simple functions and operators. Okay, so and Python is also very versatile and very flexible. That means that it can be used for building almost anything, and it has a wide range of libraries. You can see here. For making neural networks, it has sorry, this arrow. Okay, libraries PyTorch, and then for machine learning you have scikit-learn, and then for AI you have LangChain or OpenAI also. I will not be using these too much in this session because that would be a bit of an overkill. And for making APIs, and so you have this thing Fast API. I don't use Fast API much, but that's also a very great thing. And for NumPy and mathematical calculations, you have this library, this NumPy. And Python is a high level language. That means that it takes a bit of time to Python is a high level language. That means that it takes a bit of time to interpret by the computer because it's it's not it's it's closer to English language than to machine language. So it takes some time. Now let's see. Now yesterday the data types I've explained was booleans. Booleans are nothing but two things. It is either true and false. And always remember that booleans, the first letter of booleans is always in capital letter. Is my voice clear, Sachin, now? Okay. So booleans are either true or false. But remember that, for this is not a boolean because the first letter is, in small letters. But this is a boolean and this is a boolean. There are only two, okay, true and false. Always remember this, and the first letter is in capital. Now, as we go into yeah, I forgot to explain this by the way. Like, variables are nothing but placeholders for storing data. Data can be data are usually very big, and you cannot like copy and paste them repeatedly in the code. So if you can store it in a variable, it would be much more efficient to write in code than just simply explicitly mentioning the data. And now here, okay, now yesterday I'll also explain float. Float is nothing but numerical values which have a mathematical function, and they are decimals. That's it. The simplest definition of float is that they are decimals and they have a numeric and mathematical value and property. That's it. And wait. And integers are nothing but numbers which do not contain decimal points but can be used for mathematical functions. And always remember that floats and integers shouldn't be like kept in inverted commas. Now, as you can see that, let's see. Now the fourth data type is string. Strings are anything except for integers, booleans, or floats. That means that strings can hold like textual information and these kind of things. Yeah, Krishna, you are correct. Absolutely. But the thing is that string should always be like inside this thing, inside these inverted commas. You can give this also or this also. I generally prefer this one, this double inverted comma. Now I also taught an extra topic, but most people won't teach you, but it's very useful in like data science. And so it's that, wait, that in the case of strings, the plus means concatenation. That means joining two separate strings, or joining two or more separate strings. So if I use plus operator, let's say, or suppose this thing, hello is a string, and if I like use the plus operator here and world, then that would be like, hello world. And and suppose if I use like 2 plus 2, that's a string too, okay, because it's enclosed within a inverted comma. Anything in like enclosed within a inverted comma is a string. Always remember this. Then it would be 22. You can see it's not showing any kind of mathematical result because strings are not mathematical. Strings cannot be used at any kind of mathematical calculations at all. Even if you write like 2 or any kind of number in the form of string, then also it cannot be used in mathematical function. But in AI and machine learning, if you go a bit deeper, then you will find like there's a concept called tokenization. Tokenization. So I will just show it to you once. I will not like teach. I will not go very deep into it. Tokenization. That's a great question, Sachin. And like the point of plus is like not for like joining to, like they are not used in these kind of things, but like suppose you are working with spreadsheets where you have to join two columns, then you have to consider their columns as separate strings, and you will use some kind of operator like concatenation to like join two separate columns. So then the plus operator comes in use. But for now, like for joining two simple strings, plus isn't like really needed, but it's very useful in like Excel and Jira. You can see that tokenization means that breaking data into or text into smaller distinct units called tokens. That means like uh, this string can be like written into like 1 2 3 and again like 0.12, like this kind of thing. But now for now, just forget tokenization and remember that strings do not have any kind of mathematical value. That's all I was explaining yesterday, and that was not too much because I've spent a bit of time explaining like the basic features of Python. But now let's go into this thing which I call it as input. So input is a kind of function where the user or you try to like give the computer or the programming language a kind of value instead of like just stating it explicitly. Suppose in real world applications, let's take for example Google login or so. Okay, login. In here, the you don't the email is not given at first. Rather, you type your email and password. you type your email and password in the login, and this thing is the input. That means the computer or the programmer didn't write the data explicitly. Rather, you have given the data. That means the email, whatever xyz at abc.com, or password, let's say for your 123456. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm trying to explain. That's the main thing of input. Input let's Input means that you don't hard code the variable. If you don't know what hard code is, hard code means like stating a kind of variable directly into code. Let's say for suppose, you know if you have a password, you wouldn't hard code it, of course, right? hard code Hard code is for, like, storing secret things which you don't want to show to any people. If you like try to hard code some kind of like things, like, you can like hard code some kind of basic information, but for secret information you shouldn't hard code it. You should keep it in environment variable, which I will explain a bit later. I guess you all might not be familiar with environment variable. Some people might be, and that's an exception, but I'm considering that most of you might not be familiar with environment variable. So input, I will be explaining it right now. Okay, so see, now input basically is a kind of variable. That's it. That's the most simplest thing of input. It's a variable. But instead of the variable being predefined, you give the variable in the out in the query. Query means, like ask, giving some answering something officially. Now let's go. I hope you all have like some kind of code editor or so, if I'm not wrong. I hope like some of you are having a code editor by your side to like program alongside me. A message would be fine. If you all have a kind of code editor, you can either say yes or no, doesn't matter really. Yeah, great. Pratik, thanks. Yeah, VS Code would work. That's also correct. I'm using Google Colab because my PC storage is a bit, like full. So I don't want to use VS Code right now. I want to use, like, Google Colab. Let's say, for example, first, in when using input, you always do it like this: X, or let's say, or suppose, let's take a simple program where the user inputs his name and the and his age. So let's say, for example, now the program is saying that, we have to write a kind of program where the user inputs his name and his age. That means, like, if I write like this, like name is equal to CJ, for example, that won't be correct because the user will input his name. He won't like predefine his name. So you have to write it. You should always write input like this: input bracket, and then this thing, like, now. Wait, someone has joined. Yeah. Hello. Hey, I guess you all are understanding, yeah, what I'm like trying to show and explain. If you have any kind of doubt, then you can like drop it in the comments or so. Okay, let's go. So input is a kind of function where you like the computer or the program tries to like explicitly say that please input your this kind of thing. So first of all, you define a kind of variable placeholder. This thing, variable placeholder means name, and input means let's say for example, enter your name. And always remember that whenever you type input, then on the side you must always enclose the statement in the bracket. If you like try to do it like this, then it would be wrong. It would be totally wrong. Wait, let me just try to run it. It won't even work, by the way, because input is a function. See, invalid syntax, because input is a function, and whatever like is a statement inside the input should always be inside bracket, not even any kind of other bracket. It should be always in a curved bracket. Not curved, you mean like this kind of bracket, rounded bracket. Yeah, of course, Krishna, that's totally doable, like this. So you can like type whatever you want. I'm just like for showing you all, I'm typing enter your name, but you can also write like what is your name, please input, or you can write whatever you want, but that should be in a string. That means that it should be enclosed within a bracket, and inside a bracket the text should be enclosed within inverted commas. Got it? Exactly. Now let's for example, what enter. Let me just cut this thing. Okay. Now age is equal to input. Now I'm going to show you that my program will have a kind of error, so that you all can better understand what I'm trying to say. Like if you can like wait, enter your age. And also I tried wait, yeah, okay, that would work. And comma. Wait, okay. Now tell me what, there is something wrong in the program. There is something wrong in the program. You you will like you all can try to like find the error in the program in here. Semicolon. Nah, I don't that's not an error, by the way. Like that's some kind of placeholder, like where a statement. So that is not an error. That's like a kind of like textual something, like not at all, because you know I didn't explain this, by the way. Jody Michael, you are, that's not correct, because see, whenever I try to like put comma here, then that means that I'm trying to separate this thing, this string. That's a string, okay, and that's a like that's a variable. So here variables, as I told you in the previous class, if you were like present, that variables shouldn't be enclosed in brackets. So not brackets, sorry, like inverted commas. So that's not enclosed in inverted commas, and you can see that's a variable because it's here also. It's here also, and it's here also. Sure, Krishna, go ahead. Yes, Inuguri Rakshit, you are correct. Now you all can see, like, if I try to like do this thing, enter your name. See, let's say for example CJ. That's correct. But now if I try to enter it like 23, this works in like Google Colab. But the issue is that in newer versions of Python, what you have to do is like age is a age is nothing but a kind of integer. Age is wait hashtag age is an integer. So you can write it like this, but in many versions of Python, like in Google Colab, it uses a different version of Python, like Google's own version of Python. So it is not showing kind of error. But when you try to use in VS Code or so, I think that there might be a kind of error, if I'm not wrong. Wait, let me just copy paste it. Sure. Feel free to try. I just right. Wait, let me just try to run this code. Wait, I just interrupted it. Okay, let's go. Age, let's say variable. See, there's an issue. That's that I I guess, yeah, you are correct, Lavesh Nankani. Krishna, yeah. See, if you try to like give this thing in case on age, because age is an integer, by the way, which is a positive, by the way, uh, positive integer, then in production ready systems, the main issue will be that any kind of user can like enter his name in normal way, like say for example CJ. But when you try to enter your age, then you can enter, then a person like might try to like fool you and like might try to type this thing like I fooled you. See, your age is I fooled you. That's completely wrong, because in testing that might sound good, but in production the main issue is that you should follow strict rules. So what should I now change in this code to like make sure that the age will always be in a integer? Can you like type in the chat? Yeah, exactly, Krishna, you are correct. So for this I must put again bracket, like I'm just cutting it so that you all can understand. So integer is another kind of function in which you try to like make sure that the variable stays as an integer and not any kind of like other data type. Like for example string, that would be string str, and for like let's say for example um, let's say for example uh, for boolean that would be bool, and for example like that float, that would be float. That's a kind of function. So what these kind of data type functions like float, integer, and string try to do is that they try to make the argument in like thing inside a function strictly as a kind of that data type. That means that if it goes like if I enclose a kind of variable within a float, and if I like input a kind of string, then there will be an error. Now let's say for example integer, again input, wait sorry, integer input, and inside the function, inside the input functions, there is also like you have to type this thing like enter your age. Now that's the correct way to write it. Now let's see. Now just check the magic. Let's write CJ and enter your age. See, there's a kind of error because it's showing that if uh, See, yeah, exactly, Krishna, you are correct. I totally agree with you. But the case is that, the thing which you have said, like the name should be equal to, like I'm just typing the chat because I don't want to show or interrupt the main code. Name should be in a string, whichever you want. Then on Sachin, am I clear? Like, you can do this, but the name variable should always be in a string in such case. If it's any kind of other data type, then there will always be an error. Sachin, are you clear with your like doubt? Okay, okay, great to know. See, now here you can see that there is a kind of value error because I have enclosed it within an integer function, and the integer function makes the entire like statement or like any kind of thing inside it strictly to be an integer. So like CJ here is a kind of like here is a string basically, and age is and I have, and in the here I have written like integer input, so it must be in an integer. It cannot be like this thing. Your Yeah, that would also work. That's not wrong at all. And let me just like cut this error off. Now there's another kind of issue that comes. Now let's try, for example, let's say enter your name. I can, if I want to fool somebody, then I can write like 1 2 3 or any kind of integer, and then enter your age, for example 12. Then the program will consider my thing as correct, but actually it's not correct because name cannot be this thing at all. So I have to again make a kind of change, that is like I have to enclose it within a string function. So that's like this. Now that means that your name should always be in a string no matter what the case. If it's a kind of number, then your program will go wrong. That's it. Now let's try number 2 here. This. See, wait, let me just try. Wait a minute, what? I don't know why is it happening today, but the newer versions of Python might not have this kind of thing. Like now I'm using Google Colab's own version, so it might not have this rule. But basically, whenever it's inside a string, that will always be a string. Okay, I guess it's considering the output which I gave as a like the input which I gave as a number as a kind of string, because two can also be a string. Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. But when I was like practicing Python, like when I started Python, like 1 or 2 years ago, then if I type a number in this case now, then it showed error. But now I guess there could have been some updates, right? If I'm not wrong. Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. Sorry, like I used to learn these kind of things like 1 or 2 years ago in the earlier version of Python. So now it might change. Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. But always like try to like clearly define a data type, because in professional programming you should always define these kind of things like string and etc. Now I'll be teaching you f string. Now, do you all know what is f string? wait, let me just redo it because most I will be sharing my notebook. Hashtag f string. Exactly. I guess this code is clear. Now let's hop into f string. Lavesh Nankani. Yeah, you are correct. Exactly. Krishna, you are correct. But I won't be teaching this much in detail that that if else condition because I will be like going straight into machine learning and these kind of things. So I hope like you all can like cope up. Okay, because I won't like go in deep like in basic Python. Yeah, it will be used. I will be just showing the most important things which need to be used. Got it. That's why I'm focusing on these kind of things, like strint, because in machine learning and these kind of things, you will need to identify the data types fully correctly, or else the machine learning model will fail. Understood, Krishna? But I won't be like going into like too much of Python because too much of Python isn't much needed in machine learning. You just need to use some libraries and so to automate most of the task and these kind of things. I'll be showing you, by the way, whichever thing is needed. So let's go now. F string. Now see here, you can see like this thing. Now let me just say like nice. Now see. Wait. What string for? String already. Yeah, it is important because you should keep this as a habit. Got it? Because like it's always good to mention a data type because to like reduce the chance of failure in production level systems. Sachin, I guess you are clear now. Like it like you can like you can avoid it also, but it's generally recommended to like define the data type also. Now see, now why I will be teaching this f string is because in many a times like this kind of things. Here you can see like let me just type it more. And anyways, I forgot to like show you one thing. Now wait, if I try to do it like this, yeah, not like this. And suppose like if you want to like break some line because see, the problem with this code is that it looks pretty much long, right? Like let's say for example, and I do. Yeah, slash and yeah. I, backslash and yeah, you can also do it like this. Wait, how is it done? I also forgot to do this because thanks for saying this. Okay, Sachin, I will also explain this by the way. So let's say for suppose whenever your code looks like whenever you want to like break a line like make the output look here. So it's you can try this thing slash n. Wait a minute. I guess it's done like this, right? Backslash n. If I'm not wrong, is it done like this? Because I did not practice backslash n for a very long time. Is it like this, Sachin? Just CJ. Yeah, exactly, exactly. You are correct. To break a line, you should use backslash and inside the this bracket on, not bracket, inverted comma only. You are correct, Sachin. But try to like separate this thing backslash n. But now the main issue which comes with this code is like, and again like true. I, let me just make a kind of like thing. ChatGPT make a long text. Yeah, I forgot to do this. Thanks for saying this, Krishna. So, like, whenever I'm using this kind of hashtag, hashtag means comment. That means, whatever you type in the hashtag will not be executed by Python at all. Like, in certain programming or so, you need to explain some kind of steps, like, this thing is like, hashtag print the values. That means that you know whenever you use the hashtag symbol, that means the code, not code, the text after it won't be read, because the Python language does not interpret the thing which is written after the hashtag as code. It just ignores it. It is used in the developer platform because it makes the code more readable and helps you understand the code, like what is written where, like this. Yeah, exactly, you are correct, Sachin. Like, anyone, if you have any kind of doubt, then you can like feel free to ask me. Now I will just, now let me say, like, okay, now let me just teach the this thing here only. Let's keep it here. Yeah, I have this kind of suspicion, by the way. Nah, people attending here, I guess they are practicing actively, but even I told them, like, to close their mic, and they might be going alongside and they don't want to ask out. That's not their fault at all. But Krishna, I'm having a kind of issue, like, I'm having a kind of suspect that most people in the group, WhatsApp chat group, might be NPC. Yes, Sachin, you are correct. Krishna, am I right? Like, most people in the WhatsApp might be NPC because they are like, not giving a kind of, NPC means, people who are not actively doing any kind of thing, and they are like just random side characters who don't have any, who don't give any importance or so. Yeah, exactly, they are like bots, just joining for the sake of numbers. Now let me just cut this thing. Now let me just clear the output. Nice thing, by the way. And anyways, my name CJ is also a kind of like GTA character. I guess it's from GTA San Andreas or Vice City. Let me just check. CJ is from. Hello, 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 hello. Wait, I just disconnected for a quick second. I had some kind of issue in the computer. No issue, by the way. Wait, let me just open this. Here we go. Now is my screen clear? Hello.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, okay, okay. Let's go. Now I will be teaching you the F string, which you will definitely find in like many Python things. So I won't like teach it very much in detail, but let's say for example, wait, um, what's the issue here? Okay, let's go. So suppose whenever you want to print something which has variables. So suppose like let me just check. Let me just like input like age is equal to int integer input bracket. What's the age? And let's remember name is equal to input string. What's your name? Wait. Okay. Now let's say for example, whenever you want to print something, print. Let's say for example, the person. Wait, let me just enclose it within inverted commas. Sorry, I just forgot it. Comma, comma, age, comma. Now, do you think like this code looks good because there are a lot of commas and separations, and like they're also very hard to maintain because you have to look for inverted commas, and like you have to look for the commas also. Like if I like let's say for example like if I uh, like remove this inverted comma, then this thing will go wrong because see this thing has happened now again. If I do it like this, does it look weird? Wait. Ignore this thing by the way, because see in this kind of code you must like keep a check of every comma, everything, and every this comma, and the variable also like you have to mention it separately. That's not that like in beginner Python you can use commas to separate, but in advanced Python you use this thing f string. That means that whatever the data or the input variables are there, you write it inside a single line instead of separating it with commas. So let's now this not good for production and has a lot of errors. Now again I also have another code hashtag ideal code using f string. Now let's do a print. now Now, what if I could like reduce the length? Let's, for example, let me just copy paste it. Let me just cut off these unwanted symbols. Not unwanted actually, like cluttered symbols. Now, what if I could like print the entire thing, which includes these variables also, in a single statement without using any commas. Do you think it is good? Which one is better? Let's say this thing or this thing, where you keep a check of every symbol like commas or inverted commas. Which one? The first one, hashtag one, or second one? Exactly. For this, you just have to write f before the inverted comma, and then whatever the variable is, you just have to enclose it within this thing and this thing. Now see, both of the code will be of the same thing, but the thing is that like both of the code will execute the same result, but it looks much more professional and ready for production than this one, because you have to keep a check of every comma. Now let's say, for example, if I run this, let's say age, for example, 12, not 12, let's say for example 21, and let's say for example CJ. See, both of it has almost the same thing. That means that use, whenever you try to print something that has variables, always use f string. Pratik Jaswal, can you just again uh, s- write it properly? I cannot understand what you just said in the chat. Sachin, yeah, you are correct, and Krishna, you are also correct. Lower one is very efficient and also very useful in production ready code. In AI application and machine learning application, they will be repeatedly used. Yes, of course. You have to put curly brackets whenever there are any kind of variables. Let's say here you can see age is a variable. So you, whatever the variable is, you have to put it in curly bracket, and then here name is a variable. So you have to put it in curly bracket. That's the main rule. Got it? Pratik, you are clear? Okay, okay, great, great, great. Now this thing is done. Now let's say for example, now what should I show now? Like you also want to write? Sure, sure, sure. Wait, sorry, sorry, sorry. Someone someone I guess I'm giving you 2 minutes because we have to move fast. I guess this is visible, right? Take your time. Let me just make a change first. Let me just make the code more readable, because I'm very bad at writing comments. I don't like to write it actually. Actually, second method. Now I guess the code is fully readable, right? Okay. I will give you one more minute, and then I will switch to the next one. So you do fast. But I guess whatever explanation I've done for the f string and whatever the previous thing, this input, I guess I hope it's clear to all of you, and I hope I'm explaining in a good manner. Let me just drink some water. Thanks, man. Thanks, man, Sachin. I really appreciate it. But one thing, I don't like, one thing which makes me feel a bit weird is that, why do like I'm like I still think like some people in the this main group are not worth it because no, I'm not saying about the meeting because the people in the meeting are very interactive, but the people in the WhatsApp group are not worth the time because they don't like give a kind of attention to it. They are, I guess, mostly NPCs or so. I don't care, by the way. Yeah, exactly. So, Pratik, your main issue is that the name is correct, but nice to meet you. Why did you enclose it in another curly bracket? This statement because uh, the in just remember this thing that in F string only the variable should be in curly bracket. Yeah, exactly, Sachin. Yeah, they might be busy in vacations, I guess so, or like some kind of homework. I have to consider their views also. Pratik, like always remember that curly brackets in F strings are always for variables and not for any kind of other thing. Now I guess now I guess we can hop to the next topic. Do you do you all like should I like go to the next topic? Krishna. I don't think so, but for most people that like but for some few, yeah, I guess so. Because they are just joining for the sake of it or like for the hype, which I think so because they might like some people are there, right? Like I'm not saying all, but some people are there might be there who like are saying like who just want to join because they have seen some kind of 15 like 13K follower giving his like time to like teach Python, like this kind of thing. They just want to like do it for like some show or like hype. Exactly, the ratio is correct. 20 is to 80. Now we are going to into conditional statements. Wait, let me just check. Open my pen. And I hope that the numbers which are right now in the meeting shouldn't be a kind of issue. String. My name is name. Nice to meet you. I'm working very hard. You must win. Print. What's still wrong in this? Let me just check it. I'm just checking it for a quick second. Now it's correct only. I guess you did not define the name variable initially. I guess that might be the issue. Exactly. Sachin. Wait, let me just check. Steering, what's your name? Age 19, put and your age is F string. Um, hello, name. Krishna, like, can you just please turn off your mic? Age 19, what's your age? I will also try to check it. It's correct only. I guess you have done some kind of. I don't know why. I guess Oh, Krishna. Then no issue. By the way, I guess like you might have like by mistakenly typed some kind of other data type in the name input or typed some other kind of other data type in the age input. That might be. But for my issue, but for my perspective, like your code is correct only. There's nothing wrong. Now I'm hopping to the next step. Sure. Always. Yeah, welcome, bro. Yeah. So now we are going to conditional statements. Conditional statements. Statement. Let's say, for example, let me just clear up my whole board because no, let's shift here only. Let me just cut this entire thing. Okay, okay. Con conditional statement. And I also forgot to say one thing, by the way. Statement and function. I guess you all might be confused because I use statement and function like many times, like print function and then like integer function, this statement, that statement. So statement means that it's some kind of algorithm designed inside Python where the it tells the computer which what should you do, and function is something like it's something that is made by the programmers or so to like execute some kind of variables or so. That might not like like the exact definition might be very confusing from this source to that, but statement, just try to remember this. Okay, statement all do not have a bracket at the end. Like if is a statement, for is a statement, with is a statement. Let me just minimize my screen. Okay, with is a statement, and return is a statement. I don't return might be a statement because return is return a statement. Yeah, it's a statement. Return is a statement. Now again, now for function can be anything. In function, I will make it clear, okay, because I won't be repeating this thing, because just put this in your head, listen carefully what I'm saying. Function is like print, and then let's say for example integer, and let's say for example that's a they are the like pre-built function, pre-built, and this is a create. That's a custom function. I'm just saying for example. Okay, I'll be showing you how to create functions, but these are the pre-built functions which are already provided by Python. Input is a function, I guess so, because like is input a function? Yes, input is a function. C, built-in function in Python, pre-built. Also, wait, let me just erase it. Th- Thank you, thank you, Krishna, for answering the doubts. You are a great help, by the way. Input, input. This is also kind of function, pre-built function, by the way. Last one. This is a return. Return is a kind of statement that is used when you create your own functions, where you like try to throw off a kind of variable from that particular function you have created. This is a statement, okay. So what is the main difference you notice between statement and function? Just tell me in the chat. You can be wrong also, there's no issue in that. Let me just erase this thing. What is the main difference between statement and function from your perspective? Exactly. Pratik, no, no. You are wrong, Pratik, because functions can be predefined and functions can be also like, functions can be like made by me or you or any kind of user or any kind of library. function is reusable, but statements are also reusable. So that's not the correct way to put it. Lavesh Nankani Lavesh Nankani functions use parentheses. Yes, exactly. The main difference between statement and function is that functions use parentheses, means that here you have to put some kind of data in the parentheses, something that could be any data. But here in statements you don't use parentheses. Instead you use let's say if I is more than 10. That's a simple statement. Then in statements you always use this thing, this semicolon or ratio symbol. Always remember. Also for x in range, I'm not sure, okay, blah blah blah. And then you, at the end of the statement, you will always use this ratio symbol. But in functions you don't use this thing. Exactly, Lavish Nankani, you are correct. Exactly. Now as we go to conditional statements, there are primarily three conditional statements. Conditional statement, they are this and this. Wait. If, elif, else. There are three. If means that like if x is more than y, then what should we do next? Elif means like exactly. Inuguri Rakshit. Yeah, you are correct. Exactly. They are for making decisions. And elif is also like what if, let's say, use three variables. Okay, if x is more than y is more than z, what if y is more than x is more than z? Elif means a second if there are uh, more than two conditions, then you will often be using this elif thing, this kind of thing. Exactly. If is in the starting, this is elif is in the middle, and else is in the end. Let's say, for suppose, if there's another if there are three instances, and if the first instance is wrong, then you will use the elif instance. Wait, let me just change the color and just erase it. That means else if. Elif means else if. And suppose if both of these conditions are not true and there is only one possibility left, then you don't state that elif is equal to z is more than x is more than y. You rather use else. Basically the thing is that let me just explain. When two conditions exactly, when two conditions, if x dot, that can be anything in the middle, y, and always remember to put this ratio or semicolon symbol. Then here print blah blah blah, else print else ratio print blah blah blah, print anything. If there are two conditions, then there will be only if and else. But when the conditions are more than two, then the common workflow is like this, if blah 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 this, then print this. Sorry, functions do not use this thing. Always remember to put semicolon, by the way. Yeah, I will write a code, of course, but I'm just trying to explain the most simple way possible, in the most diagrammatic way. Inuguri Rakshit, C++. In Python there are three, but in C++ there are four. That's the thing. If there are more than two conditions, then the common workflow is like this, elif blah blah blah, and then print this thing. And there can be many elifs, like elif this goes on. There can be many elifs, but there's at the end, if none of the conditions match, then that will be else, and then print anything blah blah blah. That's it. Now you can see that this is the starting is always starts with if, and the middle conditions or like other conditions can be are always elif, but the final or the other condition will always be in else. Wait, let me just let me just do this. I did a mistake, by the way. This thing, and else will be the last condition. And what one more thing, now I guess I should shift to code, right? Because that would this is, I guess I've explained too much, so let's go. Let's take conditional statements. Let's take a simple program. Okay, let's say for example, yeah, you all can, but yeah, I will try to like show it in code. Okay, nah, like explaining and doing it in code are different things, so I guess it would be better showing in code. Now for that, I will be just going in here because it has a better syntax like thing. Yeah, exactly. I will now finish it. So let's say for suppose x is equal to integer input number 1. Number 2. Integer number 3. So if now that here comes the statement, and you can also see the color is different because this is a statement and this is a function, integer and input. So let's go. If x is more than y is more than z. Also remember that whenever you give us kind of statement, then the variables which you are trying to include will not be in parentheses or brackets. Okay. And always put the semicolon sign. If you do not put it, then your entire program will go wrong. And see, there is a kind of indentation. That means a line, 4 lines have been skipped because you have to use the semicolon operator. I hope you're clear now. Then print greater. Now you will not start elif from here because that will be totally wrong. You should always remember that if elif else or any other like statements should always be in one kind of line. Okay, I hope you are clear, right? Elif y is more than z is more than x is more than z. The ratio and print now again else this is the most simple program. Okay, I will be teaching till this much, not further. I hope I will end this very soon because some people, Sachin seems to have some kind of plan for today, so I guess I will be ending it soon. Now let's use this thing. Number one, let me say, let's say for example 23, 43. Wait. Let me just shut off the terminal. Let me just use this ratio symbol to make it much more readable. Okay, now let's go. Okay, so now let's go. Let's say for example 10, 20, 9. See, the greater number is 20. And say for example, let's say again turn on the program, like 100. Oh, sorry, I forgot to do this. Let's say I put it like this, then 2, and let's say 1. Greater number is 1000. That's the entire thing. So always note that if, elif, else, and a conditional statement should always be in the same line. I mean, like in the same line. There shouldn't be like elif shouldn't be like this, or if shouldn't be like this, or else the entire program will go wrong. Rather, and like, and there should be a space of, whenever you give semicolon, then there will be automatically a space of like 4 characters. Wait. 1, 2, 3, and 4. These are the 4 characters space. Got it? That's the entire thing. I hope you all can catch up with this today's lecture, right? Now I'm just cutting this thing. Thanks, man. I like it. And I hope your concept of if, elif, and else are clear, because I won't be explaining this again, and I will be directly going to applications tomorrow. Got it? Indentation. Yeah, Krishna's. Yeah, tell. Feel free. What doubt you have? If you can. No, the code won't work because in Python or any kind of programming language, you must always maintain a certain kind of indentation. Like if I put, let's say, for example, one space left, one space less, sorry, which you have told. Let's say, for example, here. Wait a minute, why is the code working? I don't know why it didn't work. Yeah, it's very weird. Like but when I learned computer science or Python in the starting, then you know the indentation was strictly 4 characters. No, not at all. You shouldn't learn the spaces at all. The indentations are done automatically by computer. I just told you for the simplicity. It's not 3. Also, keep the Python when you started. Yeah, exactly. But remember that whenever there is semicolon, there will be an indentation. That's the thing. The greater number is 3 because like I just typed it for like, but just for showing the error. Yes. Exactly. It will automatically have a kind of space. You don't have to worry about it. You just have to like make sure that all of these align together. Like the print statements will, the print function will align with this thing, and the if, elif should be all on the same indentation. That's it. You don't have to worry much. Got it? I don't think so. Wait, let me just do it like this. You might be correct. Who knows? Because now Python has been very flexible. Huh? This works. Yeah, you can have. That's not an issue. But when doing now, you can have Sachin and Krishna. But the main issue is does not come here. In testing, you can have any kind of indentation you want, but when it comes to using production ready system, then everything should be in a single line. That's why you should maintain spaces, uniform spaces. Okay, because in machine learning and other kind of thing, you will often see code written in a very structured manner. So if you put it like say for suppose like this, and if you put this like here, this doesn't look good, right? Yeah, exactly. Here like this. But see, let me just show you. Does this look clear? Like, does this look a professional code, or does it look very unprofessional? Just like give text. Exactly. That's why indentation matters. Exactly. That's also a good point, Jody Michael. It's very confusing to fix, and it does not look good at all. So that's why we maintain a uniform system of indentation, so that the code looks clear to everyone. That's why ideally there are four spaces, by the way. That's why you should maintain a indentation. Yeah, bye. Now the session has officially ended and the day two has ended, so you can all leave. It was nice having you all. Yeah, I hope you all learned. Yeah, goodbye, bye.